Hi everyone, hope you are doing well and let's start the analysis. And good morning to everyone. We have reached the weekend. It is a Saturday, but as I always say, there is no Saturday and Sundays for an aspirant when you're working for your examination for your goal. So keep working for your goals. Saturday and Sundays are for revision. But before we start on your revision, it's important to complete news today. And today a lot of news has come. I thought Saturday might be light, but it's not. It's not light, rather RBI to MPC, so many news are coming and statements have come from Jai Shankar sir, Shaktikanta Das sir has also given the statements on de-dollarization. So multiple news coming today. So let's dig into that news. But before that, we have the thought for the day. Start every morning with igniting the fire of ambition within you, directed towards achieving what truly matters to you. That means focus your energy on your goal, and with every morning, it's not only about morning, evening, or in the night. Your energy, your goal, whatever is in front of you, for that goal, focus your energy, streamline your energy, focus on it and achieve it. There will come ups and downs, but no matter what, with this full throttle of energy, potent energy which is lying within you, awaken yourself, as Swami Vivekanand sir used to say. So please awaken yourself and fight for your goal. Good morning everyone. Good morning Purnima, Bhuvan, Vimal, everyone good morning. So speed might be a little more today because multiple news are there today. Okay, OGP 2026 batch starting on 2nd January 2025 under the guidance of Vinay sir, the founder and director of Insights IAS. And the best course OGP is starting on 2nd January. For all details, you can scan this QR code. Prices are given there, or you can also call on the number 8069405205. And this course will have GS, CSAT plus SA. Whatever you want to know about this course, please call on this number. So important news for today, amid inflation, FBI keeps repo rate unchanged at 6.5%. Lot of expectation. Yesterday also, Parikshit had given a statement, comment in our, the daily decodes, which everybody follows. So in which he had said, sir, for the 11th consecutive time, RBI has kept the repo rate at or at the same rate 6.5%, because lot of expectation from industry was that the repo rate will come down. What is the repo rate? This is basically the interest rate is charged by the RBI when it gives loans or money to the commercial bank. This is the interest rate commercial bank have to pay back to RBI. In this context, a high, from Piyush Goyal statements had also come. Lot of statements that the interest rate should come down so that there is a lot of impetus of money and capital in the market. But that has not happened. But the good news is that CRR, cash reserve ratio, that has been reduced from 4.5% to 4%. I think that has happened in 4 years. So a good news coming, and obviously repo rate has been maintained to control the inflation. So we'll talk about MPC Monetary Policy Committee, Jammu and Kashmir to develop 4 new tourist destinations with World Bank. Again, focus on Jammu and Kashmir, and already Jammu and Kashmir has lot of tourist destinations. They are increasing because number of tourists in Jammu and Kashmir are increasing. This also shows that after the abrogation of Article 370, more stability is coming to this region. Donald Trump administration deserves a lot of credit for Quad. This has said by Jai Shankar sir, the External Affairs Minister of India. Shaktikanta Das says that India has no plan for de-dollarization. So what if tariff and 100% tariff Trump was talking about? India has made it very much clear. 1,000 flee as the Syrian rebel push for towards homes. We were discussing Syria. We'll continue a bit for that. Building on the revival of the manufacturing sector. Manufacturing sector is giving good numbers, but the cost of getting those raw materials or the material which is coming is so high that it is counterbalancing both. So rest is Q&A tidbits and extra mile. So let's move towards the first important news, that is amid high inflation, RBI retains repo rate at 6.5%. Lot of expectation, but sadly it did not happen, or unfortunately, but on the positive side, inflation needs to be controlled. So MPC was set up by Memorandum of Understanding. What is MPC Monetary Policy Committee? The topmost body which decides these rate, the benchmark rates like repo rate. So Memorandum of Understanding was done between the government and RBI about the conduct of new inflation targeting monetary policy framework, and the target for the RBI is to keep the inflation under 4%. RBI Act, that is 1934, it has been amended by Finance Act 2016 to provide a statutory and institutionalized framework for MPC. It also means that whatever MPC recommendation comes, that is mandatory. It is binding on the RBI. RBI will have to follow it. And in MPC, there are three people from the government in the overall committee, and 3 people would be from the RBI. Okay. So MPC is entrusted with the task of fixing benchmark policy rates like repo rate, required to contain inflation with the specified target, that is around under the 4%. So whatever be the target, that would be the focus. And what is repo rate? We have already covered. So repo rate is the amount or the rate of interest which is paid by the commercial banks. We have done this. Let's move forward. Okay, next is what is the composition of MPC? It has 6 members, 3 would be from the government side, represent the government, then RBI governor would be the chairperson, RBI deputy governor would be there, and 1 official nominated by RBI board. So 3 people from RBI side and 3 people from the government side, balancing it out. External members hold the office for a period of 4 years, and decision of MPC would be binding on the RBI, and that is why it has a statutory, a system has also been given to it. Now let's come to the news. Reserve Bank of India decided to maintain the repo rate at 6.5 for the 11th consecutive bi-monthly review. Lot of expectation from the ministers in the central government and the experts and industry experts and people and the company heads, honchos, CEOs was that the repo rate would be reduced. That will influx more amount of money in the market. It's very simple maths if you see. So when commercial banks borrow money from RBI, they have to pay interest. If that interest, right now it is 6.5%, for example, if it would have gone to 6 or 5.5%, they would have had to pay less amount of interest. So there would have been more influx of money. So repo rate and these benchmark rates are used to control the inflation. So when the repo rate increasing, it is basically to draw back or withdraw the excess amount of money which is in the market, which might be leading to inflation. Currently, we are having a problem of food inflation in country, which is growing very high. So in this context, though there was a demand of the market that the repo rate should be reduced, more amount of money should be or capital should be infused in the market, because overall urban spending has reduced and the demand in the market is less. But since the food inflation is very high, since the food inflation is very high, RBI Reserve Bank of India has to balance the inflation also, and on the other hand, it also has to balance that the demand is decreasing. So in this context, they did not reduce the repo rate. It is at standard 6.5%, but they did reduce the cash reserve ratio from 4.5% to 4%, which would influx a lot of amount of money in the market. Good morning, Satish. Okay, so decision was made by this with 4 out of 6 members voting in favor. So that's it, 4 were, and that means other 2 might be wanted that the repo rate should be reduced, maybe. So the move reflects the central bank's efforts to balance inflation control and support economic growth. So again, that economic growth which the industry is demanding or the government is demanding, at the same time the inflation. So in this changing flux or in this balancing out, they have stuck or they have remained at that. We would be continuing with 6.5% repo rate. I think when if inflation comes down in 3 or 4%, I'm very sure the the Reserve Bank of India would definitely be reducing the repo rate. But again, they need to see how the inflation goes on. So this is it. Neutral stance. Cash reserve ratio has been reduced by 50 basis points from 4.5% to 4%, and this is also happening after 4 years. And what is the cash reserve ratio? So this is the the banks need to maintain a certain percentage of their total deposit as liquid reserves with the RBI. For example, if they have, say, a bank has 100 crore rupees, so out of 100 crore rupees, if this is 4%, if for example it was at 4.5%, so out of 100 crores they would have to keep 4.5 crore with the RBI. Now since it has gone to 4%, now they will only have to put 4 crore with the RBI. Remaining 50 lakh which is coming out, 50 lakh can be infused back in the market in terms of loans and etc. So in a very simple maths I'm trying to explain to you. So since the cash reserve ratio, the amount which these commercial banks needed to keep with the RBI, that has been reduced from 4.5% to 4%, and because of this there would be injection of 1.16 lakh crore into the banking system to ease liquidity stress. What is liquidity stress? The amount of money is not available. So if the amount of money comes, the loans also become very cheaper. So in that context, if the loans are becoming cheaper, in that sense, people will borrow more loans and they will buy more houses, and overall spending would increase. Spending and demand, then it will go in tandem. So that is what they're trying to do with the CRR. But if the repo rate would have also reduced, that would have also added in more infusion of money. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Unfortunately, the focus is to control the inflation. So this is what RBI is trying to control, the balancing out. Okay, so I hope that you've understood all this thing. Sir, I want last 6 months current affair. Okay, we started current affairs somewhere around 17th of October. From that time till date you can get. So prior to that we were not doing daily decodes. Now we have started, so till that time you can easily get. Now rest of what is meant by key monetary, that what is cash reserve ratio I've already told. And apart from that, there is also one more thing done so that more investment come from abroad. That is interest rate ceiling on FCNR deposits. So FCNR deposits are, which has been, these deposits are done by NRIs from outside. So the interest rate on this has been increased so that they deposit more. So these are term deposit that can be opened by NRIs, foreign currency, with banks in India. So increase in interest rate ceilings on aim to attract. For example, if an NRI was depositing 10 rupees, on 10 rupees he was getting 3%. So that means 13 rupees he would be getting. Now instead of that 3%, if it has been increased to 4%, now he would be getting 14 rupees. So that is what, that is how they have been working on this. So on 10%, if they increase 4%, 3%, 2% in a very simple way. Sorry, not 3-4%. I mean to say on 10 rupees, if it is 30%, again a very high number, you will never get this kind of fixed deposit. So for example, on 10 rupees, if you get 30%, you get 3 rupees, it becomes 13, and if it has been increased to 40, it would be 40%. I went to maths. Maths was a problem in CSAT also. Anyways, so this is basically the interest rate would be increasing, and you will be thinking that on my 10 rupees, 100 rupees, if it was earlier, 3% and it has gone to 4%, I will get more money. So let me deposit more money into the banks with India. So that's the more focus, so that more people put money in this and they get, more returns. Okay, what is the question? What is FCNR, foreign currency non-resident accounts? Purnima has already answered. Foreign currency non-resident accounts. So non-resident accounts who are outside India, they can use Indian banks and deposit money, and they will getting more interest now. So this is how they are trying to increase. Now inflation, retail inflation for 2024-2025 has been revised to 4.8. Please remember the target is to get less than 4%. Food inflation pressures expected to ease in coming time. That's a good news. Growth projection, not a good news. Already the numbers had come in the last quarter. When we were discussing, the quarter was around 5.6, 5.4%. Expectation was somewhere around 6.5 to 7%. Now RBI has also revised its GDP growth rate for 2024 to 2025 to 6.6%. Please get this, earlier this was 7.2%. Now it has come back to 6.6%. So economically we are moving towards more sluggish economy, which looks like right now. Hopefully it might get revived. It is very important, these two wars which are going on, that is Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Hamas, and the third one which is starting in Syria, this needs to be resolved ASAP. Okay. Now again, moving further, challenges ahead, adverse weather events, geopolitical uncertainties, financial markets volatility. This is what RBI is talking about. Geopolitical war is going on. I mean to say, a lot of wars are going on. That is Russia, Ukraine, and then the second is Israel, Hamas, Houthi. Syria is also starting, and I hope when Trump takes the seat on January 20th, he'll be able to resolve it. Second, he's talking about tariff wars, that he would be putting a lot of tariff on China and many other countries, including Canada and Mexico. Canada and Mexico around 25%, China around 35%. Initially, he was saying that he would be putting around tariff of 66% on China, What would be the ripple effect of this tariff war or this geopolitical tariff war? Only time will come. So there's a lot of volatility in the market. So overall, many economies are facing it, and hence the numbers are dipping. Okay. So persistently high inflation is reducing the disposable income, because when, for example, I have covered this earlier in Daily Decodes, inflation has increased, but urban spending is not increasing because wages and salaries of people are not increasing. So your inflation might have moved by 4%, 6%, 8%, but your salary is only moving by 1%, 2%. Appraisals are not happening. So if your salary is limited and things are becoming more costly, you will stop spending. Your focus would be to let's spend. So that is the problem, and that is why it is talking that RBI need to push more money, impetus of more money and capital in the market. That was the entire thing, that was the industry is talking about, but RBI did not change the repo rate. It is still at 6.5%. Majorly they didn't have much of an option this time, and I would say that they were on a very tight rope, that balancing the economy, infusing money in the economy, at the same time balancing the inflation or controlling the inflation. So RBI emphasized prudent and cautious decision making, and most important statement has come that India is at a very critical juncture, and the American presidency and geopolitics which will come also will define a lot of things. Focus remains on achieving durable price stability and sustainable high growth. So price stability should be there and high growth should be there. This is easier said than done, and it's not easy. And Shakti Kanta Das has been voted multiple times, the best central governor. So I think it's a tough time, tough spot, not only for India but many other countries, and I feel that RBI will come out stronger and better, and that too for our country also. So the question, MCQ repo rate has been reduced by, say, repo rate was not reduced. CRR was cut by 50 basis point to inject liquidity into the banking system. Inflation for 2024-2025 is projected at 4.8%, reflecting higher food prices. Second and third statement are right. Food prices is one of the major problems. So B is the correct answer. Next comes the new center to develop 4 new tourist destination in J&K with the help of World Bank. So again, the progress is happening on the side of Kashmir, which we have. Rest we need to take, the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Once we get the Pakistan occupied by Kashmir, rather the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, they need to see that what kind of progress is happening. The people need to realize. And obviously, recently the statement given by Jaishankar Sir in the parliament also, that Aksai Chin territory is also been illegally occupied by China, period. So we are very clear about aims, but right now focusing on Jammu and Kashmir, after the abrogation of Article 370, a lot of development is happening in Jammu and Kashmir, and the current news focuses on that. There are multiple tourist destinations in Jammu and Kashmir, and I hope that you go there to see those pictures and wonderful location. Now the government, with the help of World Bank, is planning to add 4 more locations because number of tourists in Jammu and Kashmir are increasing. This also shows that the stability in Jammu and Kashmir is getting. Now government is also there, and in that it also shows that we are moving towards more stability in Jammu and Kashmir, and over a period of time, whatever be the remnants of militancy are there, that would also be removed. So World Bank and the Union Tourism Ministry set to develop 4 newest tourist destinations. Till now that Jammu and Kashmir has not given back the statehood. So over a period of time, I think that will also happen. So initiative aligns with a significant increase in the tourist arrival recorded at 1.2 million in the first half of 2024, aiming to further boost the region's tourism sector. So in the first half of only 1.2 million people have gone to Kashmir. This also tells that the mindset of people are changing. They are believing that the stability has come to that region, and from the security point of view, forces point of view, government point of view, and if you even see security and forces point of view, overall stability and development is happening. Theatres are coming, malls are coming. In the coming 5 to 10 years, the overall cohesive development of Jammu and Kashmir will definitely change. Bhuvan, inflation in vegetable prices itself is crazy. I don't remember seeing such a bad situation. Sir, will India consider the call for statehood? Maybe, Bhuvan, it should happen. Eventually, they'll have to do. Yes, vegetables. Since I'm in Bangalore, I find vegetables to be very expensive. I'll go back to Delhi because in Delhi, I was not buying it because, there were a lot of family members who was doing it. But here, I have to do it. And in that sense, I totally agree with you, Bhuvan. Like, you go out, 2,000, 4,000 rupees are spent like anything. And that's the major problem RBI is trying to resolve. Okay, so these are the 4 key destinations which, RBI would be, sorry, not RBI, which the government with World Bank would be working on. So much of RBI today. So Kokarnak, Anantnag district, famous for its springs and scenic beauty, would be developed. Baradari in Riyasi. Riyasi is the same where that, uh, torturers or that militants had killed a lot of people in Riyasi, and then the operation were taken by the security forces to eliminate. So that was an operation which was done in Riyasi. Riyasi is in Jammu. So located near the Katra Vaishno Devi pilgrimage site. So it's near Vaishno Devi, very important site for the Hindu community, Mata Vaishno Devi. Then Bhadrabad Doda district, known as the mini Kashmir of its natural landscapes. Then Dood Patri, Badgam district, renowned for its lush meadows. So not only in Kashmir, but then again, Jammu and Kashmir, these would be developed. More tourism comes, and if more tourism comes, more stability, more income for the local people, and overall growth of the people. Okay. So in this context, let's move to the next news. Focus area of the development, world-class infrastructure should be there. Ecological sustainability. That means if you are doing a development project, it should be balancing with the ecology, balancing with the environment. So development versus environment, there has to be a balance. It should not be that you start a development project, but the overall community is disturbed, environment is disturbed. So focus on a lot of green development projects. Cultural integration, promotion of local handicrafts. Again, from yesterday I was taking a lecture on Naxalism, and again there are a lot of things which government is doing to break down Naxalism, and it is almost on the end. So in that multi-pronged approach which was taken by the government, so not only from security, development, a lot of focus was on the handicraft development there, because Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, this eastern India also has a lot of handicraft potential, and tribal community. That is why if you go to Delhi, a lot of these trade fairs and Delhi Haat, this tribal community things are being sold there, which helps in their income generation also. Similarly, in Jammu and Kashmir, this should also be promoted. It has a lot of handicrafts and handicrafts culture, or for that matter, even from shawls to lot of clothes which are very significant, and I should say which are very much relevant and focused what Jammu and Kashmir produces, from kesar to lot of things. So that can be, that cultural integration can happen, which helps in overall integration of their products into the mainstream economy also. So economic impact, tourism contribution to Jammu and Kashmir GSDP, that is gross state domestic product, increased from 7.84% in 1920 to 8.47% in 22-23, highlighting growing economic significance. Project aims to create jobs and diversify tourism sector, complementing the existing hotspots like Gulmarg, Pahalgam, Katra, Vaishno Devi. These are already very popular. Most of the people go there. Dal Lake is also here. And now if you increase places, many more people will go. The tourism is increasing. 1.2 million people have already come to Jammu and Kashmir. The number, that is the first half number. In the second half, it should increase even more. Okay. So with this, let's move to the next news. And before I move, so I've been continuously telling you this is a test series which you can join. It's starting on 8th of December 2024, which includes prelims plus main test series. For all details, you can call on the number which I had given you earlier also, or you can scan this QR code for all the details. If you are only looking for prelims test series or mains test series, that is also individually available. So you can go through that. Rest of the test series, integrated prelims come main test series, and what are the features of this? This is available out here. Rest you can call on the number also, which we discussed when I was talking about OGP course, which is starting on 2nd January. So you can call on that number also. So we have combination of prelims plus mains, prelims course and mains course also. Next important news, no plans for de-dollarization. The statement has been given by Shakti Kanta Das. It was a very important comment to be given, because Donald Trump some days back, he has said that if the BRICS nation is thinking about de-dollarization, that means they would be trying to replace the dollar. He would be putting 100% tariff on the BRICS countries. Now India at that point of time had also made it categorically clear that we are not looking for de-dollarization, and it's very difficult to do. Rather, it was suggestion of one of the permanent members, or one of the main members. It came from Russia. that we need to think about de-dollarization. It's easier said than done. See, when you talk about dollar has a hegemony. Dollar still is a very potent currency from international, from IMF to World Bank to global trade and economy. So it's not easy to replace it, and it is backed by the kind of economy and everything for when it comes to dollar. And there is a lot of stability on dollar which it has achieved over a period of time. So it's good to talk about de-dollarization, but it's very difficult to do. And Shaktikanta Das, the RBI governor, has made it clear that it was one of the members of the BRICS nation which spoke about it. We right now are not going ahead, neither we are believing in this de-dollarization. We are only currently doing swap currency agreements. So that is not de-dollarization. So you are basically with some other country from Russia or Sri Lanka, you are doing swap or barter currency agreements that you would be dealing with rupee and ruble in trade. So this is done because there is lot of problems which are going currently. The problem, I'll just tell you what is that. To de-risk the trade from the exchange rate volatility. So currently there's a lot of exchange rate volatility because of this, the wars which are going on, geopolitical issues and economic issues. So in this, we are currently using this barter system or the currency swap system, which is not at all related to de-dollarization. So this statement, Donald Trump should listen that India is not doing de-dollarization. So statement has been made amply clear. So Mr. Das had said the de-dollarization is not on the table. Our objective is to reduce trade risk while maintaining flexibility in the global market. That is the focus of India, and he has made it very clear. And I think the Americans or the elected president who would be taking the seat on 20th January 2025, his economic council would be hearing it. Okay. Potential impact of tariff wars. Yes, that was also, if the tariff wars are increasing, China might do the devaluation of its currency, because when they will devalue its currency, and China makes a lot of money in dollars because it exports good. So devaluation is, for example, if say for example, the Chinese one rupee is so much in the head. Okay. So say Chinese currency is equal to, one Chinese currency is equal to say, or rather $1 is equal to say 100. Okay, 100 Chinese currency. So in that context, if it goes to, they devalue it and now it goes to 120. So the value of dollar has increased, but there is a devaluation of the Chinese currency. Okay, there is a comment which has come. Let me just check. Yes, Bhuvan, that should improve. Can BRICS country not transact themselves? Yes, that's difficult. That is what the common currency, then you're trying to do de-dollarization. That's very difficult to do. You can swap with the currency. For example, if India and China decides, so India has rupee, China has yuan, so we can do those currency swap agreements. So coming back to my examples, for example, if say the $1 is equal to 100 yuan, and now the China deliberately does devaluation, now $1 is equal to 150 yuan. So has been a devaluation deliberately being done by China. Can afford this because China earns a lot in dollars because it's a manufacturing and exporting country. So China might do it because they would be earning in dollars, which might even increase their forex. But this is a problem here because this was a good strategy when the China and the Americans had good relation, Chinese goods were entering. But if the tariff and everything is increasing, it might become even more complex. So retaliatory tariffs, this might be China putting it. China has already said that they would, I think we were covering in Daily Decodes, germanium or some of the metals they would not be giving, which are used in battery in EVs. Okay. So retaliatory tariffs impacting global trade dynamics. India's response will depend on how the situation evolves with a focus on maintaining general equilibrium. So it's a very diplomatic statement. India will weigh and then will take statements. In a very simple term, that is what it means. Forex reserves of India are quite stable. It is at $658.09 billion. This is of the numbers of end of November, 28th or 29th of November 2024. These are the numbers. So we are sitting on a good pile of forex reserves, and RBI has said, or the statement which has come from Shaktikanta Das, if there is any volatility in the market, we would be able to take it. So there is no problem. So our economy remains robust and adequate to handle spillovers from potential global economic disruption. So whatever be the uncertainties under the newer US administration, we are ready to take it. Now let's move to the next news. Trump administration deserves a lot of credit for Quad, says Jaishankar. Okay. Yes, correct. So let's go to the next news. I told you today there's a lot of news. So Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister, has appreciated the role of Donald Trump in Quad, and it should actually be appreciated. It was in 2007, 2008 when the idea of Quad had come. That time Prime Minister Shinzo Abe had given this idea, the Japanese Prime Minister had given the idea that Quad should be formed between India, Australia, Japan and the America. But the Australians, they were initially, they wanted to join, but they got a lot of pressure from the China, and reluctantly they did not join. So the idea of Quad went under the carpet. When the first presidency of Donald Trump came, then around 2017, the idea of Quad was revived, and now it has become a potent group when it comes to Indo-Pacific or the South China Sea area. So Quad is very important. Quad stands for Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, and in this you have India, Australia, Japan and the Americans. Quad has also expanded, rather not expanded, but one more group has come, that is called Squad. So if you remove India and add Philippines to this group, that becomes Squad. That majorly focuses on the South China Sea area, where China is trying to create artificial islands and put a fear psychosis in all of the ASEAN countries and try to grab land there for their exclusive economic zone. But anyways, coming back to the news, External Affairs Minister credited Donald Trump administration for the resurgence of the Quad, emphasizing role in elevating the group to its current prominence. And there is no doubt about it, because it was Donald Trump only who had pushed the Quad, and then it came in 2017, and from that time onwards multiple meetings have happened. Around 6 meetings have happened, and related to Quad, and Quad is now right on the track. I think once the Trump takes the presidency, it would be even pushed further because of his, the anti-China stand. So speaking at the India-Japan forum, he highlighted Quad's inclusive model. India, Australia, Japan, US contribute their fair share, countering concerns about unequal burden sharing. So there was a statement, and many geopolitical experts used to say that India is the weakest link in Quad. So the Jaishankar sir has countered, and it says that everyone is sharing the burden equally, and there is nothing like the weakest link, that India is the weakest link to this. So emphasizing strong contribution from all members. Okay. So even in the previous daily decodes, we have covered Quad like anything. Multiple times we have done Quad. So if you have been following daily decodes for a long period of time, I'm very sure from Quad to, North-South Transport Corridor, Chennai, Vladivostok, BRICS, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, World Bank, IMF, we have covered all these static area. Every day in UPSC prelims impact, we cover one important fact or, static information which is relevant for prelims. Today, like we have covered Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, again very important. Okay. So Quad model is based on sharing responsibility, global geopolitical stability. It's working on the agenda, which is not only, even on health it is working, on security it is working, multiple parameters Quad is working, even on climate change and green energy. So India-China relation, border tension. So External Affairs Minister also gave statements on India-China that there is a stability which the India-China are working on it, and the disengagement has started. De-escalation and de-induction and normalization of ties will take time. I think we have covered a lot of this news even in the previous daily decodes. So these are standard statements which was asked to him, and the two important areas, that is Demsang and Debchok, that have been resolved, but there still is a problem of buffer zones which need to be resolved, and de-escalation and de-induction and normalization of the relationship between India and China will take time. So future talks would be continued at the 16th BRICS Summit in Kazan. It was said that the special representatives meetings between the External Affairs Minister or National Security Advisor, on the other side the Foreign Minister of China, Wang Yi, it will continue to stabilize and make the relationship healthy from the point of view of visas, direct flights, Kailash Mansarovar Yatra, and taking the trade even more in better stretch, or increasing more trade. So that would be happening soon. So India-Japan collaboration, so India and Japan are all, since, it was an Indo-Japan meeting, and that is why obviously the statement will come on that. So semiconductor industry, there's a collaboration happening with the help of Taiwan, and both countries are exploring potential collaboration, including joint efforts with Taiwan also. Semiconductor is very important. If you know semiconductor, then you should study about AI. Why AI, semiconductor and all this industry is very important, and how billions of dollars are being put into this industry? So this is a mains question. Please go through it. Let's go to the next important news, that is after capturing Hamas, Syria insurgents advance to Homs. Bhuvan, it's very, you know, Bhuvan, I agree to you that G20 is there, G7 is there, BRICS is there, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. They become difficult to learn when you take, 1 month of current affairs and try to, mug it up, or you just want to cram that information. But if you continuously follow news on day-to-day basis, like what is BRICS doing, what is Shanghai Cooperation Organization doing, what is G20 doing, over a period of, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, you will get an idea. Problem is that aspirants try to mug it up. But if you do on daily basis newspaper, you will understand the objectives of these organizations very clearly. So let's go to the next important news. After capturing Hamas, Syrian insurgents advance to Homs. So we had covered Syria. Now again to reiterate, see, the problem is that the rebels from Idlib, they got to Aleppo. So the problem is happening, what is happening in Syria is that from 2016 to 2024, there was a kind of stability. It was under the regime of Bashar al-Assad, which is being backed by Iran and backed by Russia and some Iraqi militants. Okay, so there was a kind of stability, and the area of Idlib, there was the last remaining hotspot of militants, or you can say rebels. Now within a span of 1 week, 4 to 7 to 8 days, they have been able to capture from Idlib to Aleppo. Aleppo, they are going towards Homs, and Homs, they are moving toward Damascus, and Damascus is the capital of Syria. And the army, the Bashar al-Assad's army, or you can say the Syrian army, that's what they call it, they are not able to control it. Rather, they are leaving the cities and going because they are not able to fight the rebels. The problem is that this is exactly how it started in the previous Syrian crisis, because all these, all these rebel groups, they are backed by many international countries. Bashar al-Assad is being backed by, Shia community, then Iran comes, Russia comes, and many rebel groups are being backed by Turkey, or for that matter, Americans. Like the rebel group which is HTS, which is backed by Turkey, and now Turkey, it is a member of NATO. So might be Americans are also behind this. And why it is being this happened? Because I've told you earlier also that this entire crisis, Russia has multiple bases in Syria. They have invested a lot of money in Syria. So it is important that they maintain this basis, because if they can control Syria, they have some kind of hegemony, or some kind of power basis to control the West Asia. So over a period of time, Russia has invested. But currently in the Russia-Ukraine war, Russia is winning, and Ukraine, even after giving off ATACMS missile, it is not winning, which has a range of 300 kilometers, which was allowed by Joe Biden. So what happens if a Russia-Ukraine ceasefire happens after 6 months and Russia is able to capture more land? Then Ukraine will not be able to barter. But if Ukraine also is able to get 3-4 more cities with Russia, say Russia has 6 cities and Ukraine has 3 cities of Russia, so that way Ukraine will say, I will give you these 3 cities, you give back my 3 cities. But this will only happen if Ukraine is able to get land. Right now, Russia is being supported by Houthis and around 11 to 12,000 North Korean troops and multiple missiles. So Russia is on rampage of drones and getting more area. So to demoralize the strength of Russia and Ukraine, this might have started here so that Russia's attention from Ukraine goes towards Syria. This is one of the most important geopolitical learnings which you need to learn. Okay. So in this context, now Syrian civil war has intensified with thousands of people fleeing central city of Homs, and rebel forces led by Islamic faction Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, and this is called HTS in short. It used to be part of al-Nusra, and the Gulani or Julani who heads it, his name is Gulani, some people say he is Julani. Now Julani was also the former lieutenant of Baghdadi. Baghdadi was the head of ISIS. Now this organization HTS has changed. It is saying that we only have a problem with Syrian and Bashar al-Assad regime. We don't have any problems with the Americans, and they are also saying that we are giving all the rights to Christians. For praying and everything. Now why is he saying? So that the Americans don't come behind it. That's the, the amount of brain he has used. So it is advancing southward. Lightning offensive already resulted in the capture of Aleppo. Aleppo has gone. Then Homs is the one which they are working towards. Homes that they are working, and the final would be Damascus. So north, Hama in the center, dealing with significant blows to President Bashar al-Assad regime. The rebel aims to take Homs, a strategic city that links Damascus to north and Assad coastal stronghold. So once they are able to capture it, they would be able to cut the throne and cut the army and the stronghold areas of Bashar al-Assad. So this is what is currently happening in Syrian crisis. So let me take you to the map. So what is exactly happening if you see? So this was the major area. So all your, let me go to the next. So if you see Idlib was the area where these militant remnants were there. So this HTS group was there. So first of all, they have captured Aleppo. After capturing Aleppo, then they are coming to Hama, and then they are coming to Homs. So if you see, and under the Homs, there would be Damascus. So if they are able to capture it, this is a direct threat to the Syrian regime. This is exactly what is happening. And Russians have started bombarding now the Idlib with their fighter planes and everything. So a crisis has started in Syria, and now this might have more ripple effects in the entire Middle East situation, which is not at all good. So this is what we need to understand. Most of the news we had discussed yesterday. Okay, this, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham I had covered yesterday also with Muhammad Julani. Let's go to the next news. So this was majorly, I was, telling you what is currently, we covered Syria yesterday also, and this was the update on Syrian news. So this we had covered yesterday. Let's go to the editorial, which is building on the revival of manufacturing sector. Okay, let's come to manufacturing sector. But before that, in this manufacturing sector, this news majorly talks about production linked incentives, PLI. So PLI is part of the self-reliant Atmanirbhar Bharat and majorly focusing on manufacturing in India, be it from the foreign players coming or Indian players doing it. So boost domestic manufacturing investment and exports. It was launched in March 2020. Initially, there were 3 sectors in it: mobile and computer manufacturing, electrical component, medical devices. Later, 14 more sectors were added. The focus is in domestic and foreign companies receive financial rewards, or they'll get subsidies, or they'll get rebates for manufacturing in India based on a percentage of the revenue over up to 5 years. So this is like China around 1970s and 80s expanded like anything in manufacturing. So we are also working on expanding our manufacturing, because if your manufacturing expands, number of job generation would be very high, skill sets would improve, and overall cohesively, comprehensively, it would be very good for economy. So a lot of news coming for economy. Thank you for yesterday coverage of Syrian. Thank you very much. And there's a continuation, and I told you that, whatever these kind of news, we would be covering it. I think next we'll also talk about that there's a crisis which is happening in Sahel region in Africa, where the ISIS is rising. So somewhere next week we'll also talk about that. So India's manufacturing sector is experiencing a significant revival driven by strategic reforms like PLI, production linked incentive. There is a robust growth which is happening and gross value added. You will be surprised, but the manufacturing numbers came and it showed something else. Yes, the growth is happening, but it is counterproductive. We'll come to that problem. They are poised to become a global manufacturing hub. However, sustained growth requires expanded reforms, greater inclusivity, and measures to address regional imbalances, because there are only 4 or 5 states where this manufacturing is happening. Again, this is the problem. You need to expand. China was very clear that they used to find areas, and that area would be doing that specific manufacturing. So overall, India, we also need to do this, and there should be, if women also would be joining the manufacturing, the overall rate would also be increasing. So PLI schemes have definitely transformed mobile manufacturing, electronics, pharmaceutical, automobiles. The annual survey of industry says manufacturing output grew by 21.5%. GVA has increased by 7.3%, reflecting the pandemic which we had come down. Obviously, manufacturing was very difficult to do in COVID times. basic metal manufacturing, coke, petroleum product, food products and chemicals, which have been supported by PLI scheme. They accounted for 58% of total manufacturing output, and the growth has been 24.5%. So many sectors in manufacturing, the numbers are going up. But what is the challenge? Gap between output growth and GVA. The high input prices, that means the amount of money which is required to start this manufacturing or the raw materials input cost is too high. Since this input cost is too high, even if you are doing good amount of manufacturing, it becomes counterproductive in nature. So which rose by 24.4% in 2022-2023, are eroding the value addition despite increased production volumes. So production has increased, but your input cost is very high. Your input cost is rising by 24%. So even if your production is very high, but the amount of money required to start is also very high, it becomes counterproductive and overall growth is questioned. That is exactly what is the problem which is going on. Okay, so a streamlined import tariff system with lower duties on raw material and intermediaries can reduce cost, boost competitiveness and improve integration into global value. So import tariff system would be helping, streamlined import tariff system would be helping that the imports which we are bringing in our country, or the input cost or the raw material, if the tariffs are very high, for example, we are importing X raw material from China, because of the tariffs, the cost of that raw material is increasing, and that raw material is required by our manufacturing companies, and that is how the overall product cost is increases. So in that sense, if the tariffs can be streamlined, that would be helpful. This is a problem which European car makers are also facing in Europe, because the European Union is planning to put more tariffs against Chinese goods, so or Chinese manufacturing. If the Chinese goods or Chinese parts becomes expensive, then the electric vehicles in Europe, which needs these parts, the overall the cost of the EVs will also increase, and it would be very difficult for these EVs to compete with the Chinese EVs. So this is a global problem. Okay, so regional imbalances is there. Over 54% manufacturing manufacturing GV and 55% employment is in Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Uttar Pradesh. Again, same problem. We have certain islands or certain states of development. We also need to encourage in other states. State must implement reforms like land, labor and power for more integration and growth. MSME contribute 45% of manufacturing GDP and employ about 60 million people, but face barriers to scaling up. In terms of capital, there's a huge problem. So lower capital investment, that's a problem. So tailor PLI scheme to lower capital problem threshold and reduce production targets. So the targets for MSMEs are very high. There's a requirement of money also. If we are able to manage it, the amount of capital infusion which MSME needs, because see, 45% of the manufacturing GDP is coming from MSME. MSME is micro, small, medium enterprises. So the target can be reduced and the amount of money can be increased. That will help MSME. Now, if in this manufacturing, if women join, then there can be rise of 9% if women join the workforce. World Bank estimates that India's manufacturing can grow by 9%. So women should join from empowerment point of view, from economics point of view. A very important thing which should happen, they should be given facilities like hostel, dormitories, creche, childhood facilities, so that they can easily come and work. Now this all happens in developed countries. This should also happen in India if we are very serious of expanding. So expanding PLI incentives, labor intensive sectors like apparel, leather, footwear and furniture. So the PLI is currently to some sectors. It should be expanded to other sectors so that more manufacturing happens. And so it can be given to labor intensive, and it can also be given to sunshine sectors. What are sunshine sectors? That is aerospace, space technology and capital goods. This can be a good prelims question. What is a labor sector? Labor intensive sector, more labor, apparel, leather, footwear, furniture. What are sunrise industries? Space is there, then aerospace is there, and capital goods. Promote green manufacturing and invest in R&D. Again, R&D and advanced technologies you need to invest if you want to make your manufacturing better. So future potential is good. Our CIA estimates we can move from 17% currently to 25% to 27% by 2047-48 in terms of GVA. Manufacturing sector can become a key driver of India's transformation. It was a key driver of transformation in China. Same can happen in India also. So this is the main questions which you can go, a very important question from economics point of view. I would definitely want that you write an answer, and please share your wonderful comments. I'm always looking for your comments. You're writing such wonderful comments in chat. Once the lecture is over, please do press the icon and do share this with your friends. You have multiple friends who are preparing for UPSC. Please do share. Okay. And in tidbits, we have employee EPFO has been given the wins a global award, that is, it has got International Social Security Association Good Practice Award. So this is from the point of view of the facts and everything. It has been for Asia Pacific for this year for 5 service provided by EPFO. So it has been given for this. Rest you can read. In the extra mile today we have silica scars. It is about mine workers need early diagnosis and treatment of silicosis. So with this, we wrap up the news. A lot of news today. I tried my level best to wrap it up in a good time for you. And thank you very much. Jai Hind. It was lovely meeting you again and again. And now we would be meeting on Monday. All the best for your exams. In South there are exams, like in Karnataka there's an exam of students, or if you watching all over the country, if you're preparing for exams, all the best for it, and otherwise be focusing on your revision and your test series. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Please like the sessions, share the session. PDF would be uploaded in some bars. You can download it. Press the bell icon and please share the session with everyone. Put your lovely comments in the comment section. Thank you very much. Jai Hind and bye-bye. Okay. So one comment I'll just take, sir, but GDP share cannot increase until Make in India. Yes, Bhuvan, correct. GDP share is a notch. Also, service economy is growing at a high compared to manufacturing. That's a major problem, Bhuvan, because our manufacturing has not grown compared to China. China focus was manufacturing, and manufacturing is important because, people even with the basic education and skill set, given the right skill set, can join. And manufacturing is very labor intensive and lot of people can join it. Compared to when you talk about service industry, you need a higher amount of education, and certain class of people or certain people who have got that education can join it, that higher education. Manufacturing is very important because once your manufacturing expands, a certain section of agriculture which is not able to grow there, that will, as the country move towards more developed economy, they will shift to manufacturing. But for that to happen, manufacturing as a whole should improve, and PLI is one of the important steps in that. Thank you very much and Jai Hind.